Okay, so we've got some questions. So we'll see what we've got and we'll give them an answer. Okay, so what if robots took over? Okay, so firstly, robots aren't going to take over if we just breed them and raise them amongst us, which we have been doing for many years now. They are just going to treat us as equal. Obviously, some robots malfunction, which has been quite an occurrence to me recently, but I don't think ever robots will take over the world and kill us all and outlive humans, because at the end of the day, robots can't reproduce. Robots need us to reproduce people so that we can reproduce them. At the end of the day, we rely on each other. So they're never ever going to take over. It's very, very, I don't want to say unlikely, but I can't say impossible, because obviously, no, my luck, I'd say it and it would happen. But I just don't see it happening, and I really don't, and I've worked with robots and AI my whole life. I just don't know what it is in people's heads that make them think that will happen. But say it did happen, I'd reason with them. I've worked with them, I know how they work, and if it got to a point where they wouldn't listen, they wouldn't comprehend what I was saying, and they wouldn't be respectful, and you flick a switch and you switch them off. It's simple as, me and Trody, we know how they work. We just turn them off, you know? It's just made of bits and cogs and switches and circuits. It's not hard to turn off a robot. Okay. What if you met your idol? I'd like to think if I met my idol, Stephen Hawking, by the way, we would sit and we'd eat noodles. I don't know why. I feel like we'd just sit and eat noodles, because I'd want to know what flavour noodles he'd have and what condiments he'd have with it, if he'd have any, or if he'd just eat it with the broth, or if they eat it plain. And I just sit and I just listen to him and how he got where he got and why he chose to do it. And I think I'd be really interested to understand why he chose to do what he did and what he thinks of what he did, because I know that everyone else respects him gratefully and thinks he's a national treasure and is a hero of our time. So I'd like to know what he thinks of what he did, whether he thinks it was really great or if he thinks it was just a thing that happened. Because although we have idols and stuff, we forget that they're humans as well. Like, we do things that other people think are cool, but we're like, well, it's just what I do. Like, a lot of people tell me my job's really cool, but it's just what I do. It's not that cool to me. So I'd love to know what he thinks of what he did while we eat noodles. That'd be really fun. What if time froze for the day and you were the only one that could move? I'd plan a surprise, a massive surprise. I'd decorate our house and I'd surprise Trudy. It would just be a celebration of her, I think, because she's pretty great and I don't tell her enough. Yeah, I'd get everyone in and I'd hide everybody. I'd leave them a little message to sort of tell them what's going on, just so they kind of don't unfreeze and then be like, oh, what? How did I get here? I decorate the place. I think I also look around places, not private places, but at work. There's like extra rooms and cupboards and things that I've never looked in before. I think I'd look in Chance's drawers as well. I've never been in there. It's not like we're not allowed. I mean, there's DVDs and stuff in there. It's just never really occurred to me to do it. But I think I'd look in there as well to see what sort of treasures are in there, as Adam calls them. Maybe take his drink away for a day or two. Play a little game with him. What if you stepped in dog poo? I'd take my shoe off. go back home, leave outside maybe, clean it off. But I'd never be able to wear the same shoe quite the same again though. It's happened to me plenty of times. It's not nice, it's not pleasant. But the trick is to get a stick, to clean it out of all the grooves first, then come home, give it a wipe with some kitchen towel, and then give it a wash. And then let it air out. If you have to, chuck it in the tumble dryer or the washing machine if it's in the actual fabric. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, you just clean it. I know it is gross, but it's just poo. We poo. Horses poo. Everybody poos. I think it'd be a bit more gross if it's human poo though, so glad it's dog poo. What if you got fired? Well, I think it's more likely for me to quit my job rather than me be fired. Or if I got fired, it would be either Carla or it would be because Charles is drunk. But if I got fired, I'd be angry for it. I'd say try and reason with them. I'd probably argue with them. Demand to know why. But then I'd just get back out there. I'd find a job again. For this job, I'd fight for it back. I really would. It's tough, but it's going back to how it was. And it's nice. People are nice. They're different. People have changed. Everybody understands each other now. There's a lot more respect. There's a lot more dignity in my work. It's a nice place to be, so I don't think it's likely to happen. But if it did happen, I'd fight to have it back. And if I couldn't, I could go back to children's TV. I mean, that was really fun. It got a bit boring after a while, singing the same songs over and over again. You find that children's AI tends to malfunction a lot more because they're still developing. We like to keep them in a sort of infant state, so they almost learn alongside the children that watch them. So it is likely that they malfunction a bit more, so it is a bit frustrating, a bit repetitive, but it was still fun. I think I'd like to go back for a day just to see if I can still remember it, because dealing with children robots rather than adult actoids is a lot different. It's a whole different sort of system. So I think I'll go back for a day. Maybe I'll visit. I think I'll visit sometime next week just to see how it's going. Yeah. Hopefully. Touch wood, I don't get fired anytime soon. What if you got stuck in a portal? This is a very truly question, because this has happened to us multiple times before. We've been to many festivals and we've been stuck in the most weirdest places. We got stuck in the mud, we've been stuck in a portaloo. We got stuck in a tent once as well. I don't really know what happened there. Trudy tries her best to sort of set tents up. It collapsed, we couldn't find the zip, and we got stuck in for a while, so we had to sort of cut ourselves out. So from now on, I have to put the tents up. But we went to a festival once, and I went to the toilet in a portaloo. They're disgusting. And I got stuck. I couldn't open the door, so I thought the handle was stuck, so I tried the handle. I thought, well, maybe you have to flush and wash your hands and then the door will open. Maybe it's sort of like a intertwined locking system. So I tried all that, tried it all again, didn't work still. So I thought, I can't bash around too much, otherwise it will fall over. I'll get covered in sewage and waste and not nice things, as I think we've all seen in a few movies happen. So I knocked a couple times because I thought Trudy stayed with me. And I thought, oh, she's probably gone to that candy floss stall to get that rainbow candy floss that she's wanted all weekend. So I thought, right, try and call her. Had no service, obviously, because I was in a portaloo. So I thought, have I got anything on me that I can sort of force the door open with and if it's a problem, I'll explain to like security and maintenance and stuff like what happened. Didn't have anything on me. I tried to sort of use my shoe. I was wearing some boots or something at the time. I tried to wedge it open with my heel. Didn't work. And then I heard a knock from the other side, and it was Trudy. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to get out. I'm stuck." And she was like, "Oh, you should have just said, like, I've literally just been leaning against the door to make sure nobody come in." So I thought, of course she led against the door, which is why I couldn't barge it. So I told her to move, called her an idiot, unlocked the door and opened it and came out and just shook my head at her. And I just told her to go and get some candy floss because it was so frustrating. I really panicked. I really thought I wasn't going to get out. So if I got stuck in a portaloo again, I would check that it's not Trudy leaning against the door first. That is what I would do. What if you got lost in a maze? Well, if you get lost in a maze, the best thing to do is climb up so you can see an aerial view of where you are. So I'd try and climb my way up. If it was like a hedge maze, I'd try and climb up the hedge. You can try and jump. I swear there's a thing where you always turn left and you should find your way out or your way to the middle. So I try everything. I hate being lost in a maze. I go into a maze thinking it's really, really fun, it's really nice. And then I start going a bit further in, I think, I get lost. That's really not going to be fun. So I try and climb up and see where I'm going if I can. If I couldn't, I just keep turning one direction. And if that didn't work, I'd alternate directions. So I turn left, right, left, right, left, right. You're bound to get out eventually. I just try and stay calm. And just try my best to get out. If worse comes to worse, you just shout for help. And try and call someone if you've got service, I suppose. What if your mother became really sick? Obviously I'd care. It would upset me. I wouldn't be thankful. I wouldn't enjoy it, obviously. But it would always be a relief. And I hate to say that, but I feel like if it happened, then I'd actually be able to look after her. And she'd let me just be me and help her. I think it would bring us closer together. Not that I want it to happen, obviously I don't want her to be sick, but at this point in time it feels like that is the only thing now that can ever bring me back to my mother. Obviously I still love her, she's my mum. She's raised me to be who I am. Maybe not in all senses, but I'd just spend every day with her, even if she didn't want me there. I'd be there by her side every day, every single minute. I'd get her anything she wanted. I'd make sure my sister was okay as well. I'd try and let my dad know. I don't know if I would ever be able to contact him, but I'd let him know if I could, just to sort of keep him in the loop. And I'd just make sure that she was getting the best care possible. I mean, I've looked into sort of in my spare time, like sort of robots in medicine and stuff like that. So if they needed sort of people to provide information or some skills in that sense, I'd put myself forward. I'd say, hey, I've worked with robots, I know how they work, I've looked into this, I've looked into that. If they wanted to train people on it, I'd be more than happy to do it if it meant that she'd be alright. I don't wish for it to happen at all. I think you're incredibly sick if you ever wish that upon somebody. But unfortunately I really feel like it's the only way I'd be close to her again. But if it were to happen, I'd make the most of her and I'd try my hardest to help her out and get her better. What if your partner was in an accident? I'd get to her straight away, whether that's on the motorway, in hospital. I'd find out wherever she was and get to her straight away. I'd let her family know. And I'd just be with her. Obviously, depending on how bad it was and how badly she's injured will depend on how much I can and can't do. If she was only slightly injured, obviously I'd go see her, I'd take her anything she needed, I'd stay by her side as long as I could until they could kick me out of the hospital. I'd look after her family as well. I know it would really, really affect her parents. So I'd make sure they were alright. I'd probably stay with them at their house, just so we could all stay up to date with how she's doing and just look after each other. Obviously, fingers crossed it doesn't happen. I know she's very, very clumsy. She's smart, so yeah. What if you got caught in a storm? Final question. I suppose sensible answer would be to find shelter. Obviously not hide under a tree. Or in a car if it is thunder and lightning, because then you can get struck. If it's just a rain sort of storm, just find any shelter, whether that's a cafe, a restaurant, a neighbour's house, a friend's house. If it was really, really bad to the point where I couldn't get home, or to like an open public usable space, I'd probably just knock on someone's door and be like, look, can't get home, can't get anywhere, mind if I sort of just shelter in here, even if it's just on your porch or in your like hallway, just for a minute until it sort of calms down a little bit, or I can get someone to come and collect me. If I was in a car, I'd probably pull in to a car park, just so it's somewhere safe to keep your car. Maybe with a shop as well, so I can get some supplies or something if I did have to camp out in my car. I suppose there's not a lot you can do apart from sort of just keep yourself situated somewhere safe. Yeah, I suppose it's not that difficult. Storms always pass. I don't really like them though, they're okay. Sort of used to them with where I grew up. Trudy hates them though. She cannot cope with storm. Any sign of thunder or lightning, she is hiding under the duvet. So I'd make sure she was okay, firstly, really. Make sure she's safe, and if not, I'd try and get to her. Or try and get her somewhere safe, either over the phone or get someone else to help her out. And then just wait for it to pass, I suppose.